Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for the invite. It's great to be here. My name is Brendan Peterson. I write about financial services for Punchbowl News. For those of you who don't know, Punchbowl News is a newsletter community that is really focused on Congress. Started by original Politico playbook authors Jake Sherman and Anna Palmer. I am the first policy reporter at Punchbowl News. We launched The Vault, which is our financial services economy-focused platform, about a year ago now. I've been thinking about myself more as a financial influence reporter in the last few years than financial services, because I think financial services has more of a business focus, and what I really cover is how government and industry overlap. And obviously, I mean, the ways in which you guys have shaped government this year has been a dominant storyline of the 2024 election. So I guess I'll talk a little bit about my immediate focus, because obviously the election is significant. I don't know how much crypto news we're going to get out of the election at this point. I think you're going to see Donald Trump continue to embrace it. I think Kamala Harris will probably keep her options open. I don't know if you're going to see an explicit embrace, although I know that would be a big deal for you guys. I think in general, I noticed that Kristen referred to the next session of Congress, which I think is a good thing to keep in mind. But I do think we're going to have a pretty lively lame duck session as well. And I think in this upcoming Congress after the election, what that looks like, to be clear, is going to be completely contingent on what the election turns out to be. I think if you have another Democrat coming into the White House, but flipped control of Congress, in my mind, and I'd be curious to hear what you guys think about this, but in my mind, that is probably the most productive format for a lame duck, because you've got an outgoing financial services chairman, potentially an outgoing Senate Banking Committee chairman, an outgoing Senate Agriculture chairwoman. Like, there's a million things going on and people who want to have some kind of legacy coming out of it. The biggest obstacle to that is probably the extent to which the Senate Banking Committee and its Democrats are not really involved in the broader Senate conversations about broad-scale digital asset reform. We just haven't seen a lot of meaningful engagement from Sherrod Brown. That might change, but in the meantime, I haven't seen it. All to say, there is plenty of material policy out there to get unpacked in this lame duck. I'm going to be very curious to see how it turns out. Here's the last thing I want to say. I want to leave you guys with. To Kristen's point, you guys have had a really fantastic run of sort of establishing yourselves as a political player. I think the trick for your industry is going to be capitalizing on the very significant political investments that you've made this year. Because I don't know how it's going to go, genuinely. The amount, unfortunately, the phrase that keeps bouncing through my brain is, was it Chairman Mao who said power flows from the barrel of a gun? You guys have a $169 million gun pointed at elections right now, right? And that's had effects. Chuck Schumer had to worry about his Senate majority. You have to worry about Democrats flipping the House. There's a million things in which this election has been colored by your spending. I don't know if that is a productive way to build a governing policy coalition, because the spending is literally unprecedented. We've never really seen anyone fire this big of a bazooka from a single industry group that is not old enough to drive a car in the United States. I think, depending on how learner's permits work. We just don't know, right? There's a lot of things about the approach that is unprecedented. I don't know if other industries will try to implement it in the way that you have. But I think to point to conversations I've had for the last year or two, it feels like a question of survival for you guys. And so I don't really blame you for giving it a shot. That's all I've got. Thank you.